guys, it's James here with the Young Man's Toolkit, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to change a flat tire without looking like a dummy. For this video I'm going to be demonstrating on our Toyota Avalon, and although it doesn't have a flat, I'm going to be going through the steps as though it did. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be saying that this back tire has a flat from running over a nail or something like that. After you've pulled over and gotten safely off the road, you're going to want to go to the trunk. Some cars, the spare tire may be under or in a different place, but on average most cars have their spare in the trunk. Alright, once you've gotten your trunk open, you're going to want to look for the jack stand and the tire iron, which in this case are over here. For different cars, the jack may look a bit different, but most should look somewhat like this. The next thing you're going to want to pull out is the spare tire, or some people call it a donut, and it should be under the trunk panel. Pull it up, and there is a tire in there, and I will pull that out. On this car, the tire is actually fastened in here by this screw top, so just screw it off like this and pop the tire out. And here is the spare tire. On this car, the spare is actually a full-size tire, which is nice because you can run this until you need to get a new tire, basically. But on most cars, the spare looks something like this. And this is why it's called a donut, because it's very skinny and will most of the time say on here, do not keep on for long periods of time. But lucky enough, this car has a full-size spare. Now that we've got all the tools we'll need, let's get this flat off the car. Before you jack the car up, you're going to want to break the lugs loose, because once the car's in the air, the tire will just spin as you try to loosen up the lugs. And if you don't know what lugs are, they're just the bolts that keep the tire fastened onto the car. One more thing before we do anything is it's smart to put the parking brake on so that the car doesn't roll at all. Okay, now let's get to braking. Alright, now we can get to setting up the jack. This type of jack is called a bottleneck jack, and you use it by twisting this end so that it starts to jack the top up. Now the most important part of this whole process is finding a good strong place to jack the car up on. Now if you're actually in a situation where you're pulled over on the side of the road and you're just trying to get off to a safe spot, these are what's called frame rails, and they are always somewhere that you can jack the car up on. Although when you do, they tend to bend, and that does damage to your car. But for this situation, I'm going to be using this part of the frame to lift the car up. Something to keep in mind when you're picking the spot to jack your car up on is to not just put it wherever it looks sturdy, because if you were to jack it up on, let's say right here, that is the gas tank, and if you tried to jack the car up on the gas tank, that would cause catastrophic damage. So like I said earlier, if you don't know, put it on this frame rail, or Google it, or check your owner's manual even. Now once you've got the jack all set up, you're going to want to twist the part on the end righty-tighty to pump up the jack. In some jacks, it won't be like this, but most are like this. I'm now just going to pump the car up. Now I will say this process of jacking the car up is pretty difficult, and so if you're not able-bodied, it might be really hard, but for most people, it's not too bad. You don't need the car to be too far off the ground, just about maybe an inch or so of room between the tire and the ground to take the tire off. Once it's in the air, you're going to want to just screw off those lugs and take the tire off. At a certain point, they most likely will get loose enough that you will be able to hand unscrew the lugs. Once you've gotten all the lug nuts off, make sure to put these in a spot where you're not gonna lose them or not have them get misplaced, because you're gonna need them later. You can just take off the tire now and put the new one on. Putting on a tire can be really hard, and it is perfectly normal if you struggle. If you're really having trouble putting that new tire back on, there's a trick that may save you. What I like to do is position my body in front of the tire while sitting on my butt like this, and then lift up partially with my legs to stabilize it, because these tires are heavy, and just guide that tire onto those bolts. And we're just gonna put the lug nuts back on the bolts, but not tighten them with the tire iron yet. You just want it to be tight enough so that the tire doesn't move at all when you lower the jack down. Now we can just lower this jack down so the car's on the ground. Then you can just slide that jack out. There's no real right or wrong way to tighten lugs on your tire, but what my dad always taught me is what's called the star pattern. It's where you basically tighten them in the pattern of a star. So the first one would be here, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So let's get to that. And for how tight, you really just want to use all the force you can, because it's better to over tighten a lug nut than to have your wheel come flying off when driving down the highway. Once you're done, you can just throw the flat with the jack and tools back into your trunk of your car, and you should be good. And that, guys, is how you change a flat tire on your car without looking like a dummy. Well, I hope this video could help you get out of a sucky situation without needing to call for backup. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.